Hello, everyone. I hope you've had a lovely Easter, a relaxing time, and hopefully a chocolate filled weekend. I hope you had a chance to catch up with some family, even if it was a virtual catch up. It is time for episode 2 of Grey Island Red Boat. Okay, so a quick recap. I think where we left things, Wendell Lightfoot had just been dragged down to the dungeons by the king. Let's find out what happens next. Chapter 4, The Colour of Magic. The dungeons were cold and grey and damp, but at least Wendell Lightfoot had food and water down there. The dungeon master was the most miserable man in the kingdom, but soon he came back to the castle kitchens with a tray the colour of magic. On the tray was a bright plate, a bright cup, and a bright spoon. "He's a magician, that Wendell," the dungeon master said. He was proud to show everyone what had happened to his grey things. "Those old iron dungeon bars fair tickle your eyes now as well," he added. "You should see it down there. It's as bright and cheery as a summer's day." Chapter 5, Such a Difference. News soon spread around the island of Ashes about the stranger and his power to make everyday objects, things like mugs and trees and curtains and even fishing boats, bright enough to tickle your eyes in the nicest possible way. It was not long before the fishermen came with a petition to the king. "We would like our fishing boats to tickle our eyes, just like the stranger's little boat," they said. The royal gardener came and saw the king too. "Your Majesty," he said, "I would so like it if all the trees in the castle garden could be green and glow like the one the stranger touched." The king huffed and puffed. "Why does everybody want to change everything all of a sudden?" he said. But he got no answer, for the dungeon master came to see him too. "Beg your pardon, your Majesty," he said, "but young Wendell has made such a difference to my life down in my dark domain. I feel quite happy down there now, what with all the colour he's made." "Colours?" the king said with a puzzled frown. "Yes, colours," Princess Opal said, for she had come to see the king too. "That's what he calls the eye tickling that he does. He adds colour to things." "Well, I don't trust him or his colours," the king replied, "so I'm keeping him down in the dungeons." Chapter 6, The Dungeon Master. And so it was that Wendell Lightfoot was kept locked away in the king's dungeon, even though the only person who wanted to keep him down there was the king. But whenever the king was up and away in his grey hot air balloon, shouting at the rain to stop, Princess Opal sneaked down to visit Wendell Lightfoot in the dungeons. The rain still fell, of course, but Wendell's cell and the iron bars were full of colour now and ever so cheerful. Princess Opal had grown to love the gentle Wendell and his gift of colour, and she was sure that he loved her too. "If the dungeon master would only let you out of here, then we could run away together," Princess Opal said. "We could take your little red boat from the harbour and set sail for somewhere new." "We could," Wendell said, "but what about the grey guards and the 6 iron cannons and your bad-tempered father, the king?" "Don't worry about him," Princess Opal said. "He's always cross. The non-stop rain every day has filled him with everlasting gloom." And the dungeon master, Wendell said. Wouldn't he get into trouble? Not if we made it look like you'd escaped and it wasn't his fault, she said. The dungeon master was so happy with all the bright colours around him that he agreed to their plan right away. He even found them some rope so they could tie him up, but not too tight. And so Wendell escaped with Princess Opal. Chapter 7, Running Away Together. Well, we might leave the last few exciting chapters for tomorrow, and we'll find out what happens with Princess Opal and Wendell Lightfoot. Have a lovely afternoon. Bye for now.